What does Hamas want and what does Israel want? Hamas wants not one living civilian.
The flag was hoisted before the world.
What does it mean to fight back? We have a long fight ahead of us.
Here I am.
Here we are.
Here I am. Here I am with Shai Davidai.
So my guest today, you've probably seen him in his stand-up specials. You've seen him on Curb Your Enthusiasm on HBO. His videos on Instagram, social media. He's been in the business for so long that we can all learn a thing or two from him. Here I am.
I've been in the Jewish business for a long time.
Some would say that that's redundant to Jewish in
Yeah,
business.
Jewish in business. The proud Jew business.
Let me introduce you.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Here I am with Elon Gold.
Thank you.
I knew we should not have a comedian.
You're going to learn in a matter of seconds that you're not going to get even one question in. That's just how it works here in these podcasts. You know, yeah. I'm used to solo. Comedians are just, we're on stage. There's nobody asking us anything. So we just, and I feel the dead air. So I have to, Robin, oh, look at this. I have to fill the dead air when you feel it. Luckily with you, though, I don't think there'll be any.
It's so funny because that's the exact same experience of being an activist. When you're like on stage and, you say something and that you thought like, okay, this will get the crowd like an understanding of something, and people will start like, there'll be a chant and there's silence. You're like, am I bombing as an activist? Like that's the worst kind of bombing, right?
Right.
But I'm
going to
start.
By the way, you, we should talk about you.
No, we're not talking about me.
People make these interviews about themselves, about the guests, whatever. You have been such a warrior, such a champion, and just like from nowhere in this genuine viral moment, not a moment where you wanted to put out, I'm going to make a video and everyone's going to see it.
Yeah.
In this passionate, beautiful, real moment, you started screaming because you felt the injustice and we felt the injustice.
And the irony is a few weeks after that video went viral, and by the way, having my name and the word viral be associated for life is a problem. But a few weeks later, I talked with some big shot PR person that was wanting to help me with something. And I said, look, can I keep the message going, but no one knows my name or my face?
Wow.
And he said, no, because that's the conduit for the message.
Wow.
I think what touched people is that I stood up and you said, here, my name is so-and-so, I do this and this, and here's what I feel. All I cared about is getting the message out.
Correct.
But you can't get the message out without having your face and name out there.
You can't. And there is power in your newfound fame. The power is that now people will know you, and now they will, followers, it's like, it's all ridiculous. This need for followers, it's all insane. But they do give power, because then the more followers you have, the more they share. And then your story and your points, which we all need, gets out. Yeah. So fame is kind of important, and we're living in an age where if you didn't post it, it didn't happen. It's the tree falls thing.
Yes, and I would say I don't look for followers, I look for amplifiers.
Nice.
I would rather have like only 50 people follow me on social media, but all of them amplifying the messages they agree with, than 500,000 following me just like passively, because that's not what I'm trying to do. But this is not about me. This is about you, Elon. And I always start every episode with this question: Elon Gold, what kind of a Jew are you?
Ooh.
And by the way, I don't ask everyone what kind of a Jew Elon Gold is. Right. But you...
Oh, you ask them. It would be weird.
What kind of a Jew is Elon Gold?
No. It'd be weird if it was like, Noah Tishby, what kind of a Jew is Elon Gold?
So Elon, what kind of a Jew are you?
Devoted. Dedicated, devoted to it. To the heritage, culture, traditions, values, to the practice of it. I mean, I put on tefillin this morning, baby. Look at that, tefillin marks right there.
I hope it's tefillin, because I know in the entertainment industry, there's
you never know. There's leather involved in things. No. I practice it because Judaism, among many things, is a beautiful religion. The first of the monotheistic religions that spawned some of the others. And I'm so proud of that heritage and culture and the rituals. The rituals are also, some of them are tedious and god-awful, like fasting, and some of them are so beautiful that you literally feel them enriching your soul, like keeping Shabbos. That is the great, the famous saying, the Jews don't keep Shabbat, Shabbat keeps the Jews.
I did not.
You
know
never heard that?
I've never heard that. Maybe because I don't keep Shabbat.
How dare you? I'm going to inspire you by the end of this. Watch this, and it's going to be a headline. Elon Gold gives. By the way, you know what?
I will tell you this.
Yeah, it's a
for
gift.
the past 2 Shabbats were the first 2 Shabbats that I've been off my phone.
Yeah.
Everything else was fine. Fine. Everything else I did not keep, but I've stopped using my phone on Shabbat.
But the
because
greatest
my
gift.
phone has become work. And
Of course
should not
it's
on
work.
Shabbat.
Of course it's work. The greatest gift that God bestowed upon us is the Torah, and then from the Torah, that greatest gift is Shabbat. Shabbos is the only time. I have 4 kids and a few wives. No, I have 4 kids, 1 wife, and we all sit there, and it is the only time where all of us, even if we're talking, are not holding. Yeah. We're not holding a phone. The phone is off and away. Yeah. Even this is annoying. Let alone my kids, teenagers. They're this. Oh, I know, Dad. Daddy. Okay, I got it. There's no eye contact. Do you have? 17.
17.
Yeah, I'm Hasidish now. Yeah, we had me and
one
the wife.
more and you get to Chai.
Yes, Chai. 4, boy, girl, boy, girl. But wait, we were talking about Shabbat now.
No, but
because everybody has kids, but not everybody has Shabbos.
That's true.
And you need to have a little Shabbos in your life. How could you not take one day to shut down? I call it connecting by disconnecting. And think about what you're connecting with. You're connecting with, first of all, yourself. You're connecting with your soul. You're obviously connecting with God, but with your family, with your community. It's all about connecting by disconnecting from our regular lives. It's one day. It's one day. I have a joke in my act. I do, I do this Trump impression. I don't know if you heard it.
And, I think I probably do it better than anyone. A lot of people, they do this and they don't do it very well.
People are listening in and is like saying like, did Shai just bring Trump on the show? I was like, no,
also,
that's Elon.
Whenever I do my impression of Trump to Jewish crowds, yes, they're laughing, but you could also just see them going, so does he love him or hate him? I got to know before I really enjoy this. Is this like a loving tribute, or is he mocking him?
I think he loves to hate him and he hates loving him.
Yeah, no, but I'm talking about what the people have to know what I like. And do I like him? Because half the people want to be angry at me and for not liking him if I don't, and half the people want to be angry at me for loving him if I do. So I'm just making fun of a guy. That's what I do. I make fun of everything and everybody. That's my job. But they have to know.
So what's your joke?
Oh, the joke is I say,
everybody, they want to be on this planet with me because I'm on it now. And, you look at the earth and God created the earth in 6 days. I would have done it in 4. I think he did so badly.
And under budget.
What? And under budget.
And under
yeah.
budget.
And it's like, so, but what made me think that is God gave us Shabbos and it is the greatest gift. How could you not take that gift and enjoy it and revel in it? I look forward to Shabbos all week. It is my favorite. I'm just playing ping pong with my kids. I'm hanging with friends and shul, kiddush club. Whatever. It is the greatest stoppage to life, and you've got to partake. I'm not proselytizing. I'm not telling you to be more religious. I'm telling you right now that if Judaism was proven completely wrong, I'd still keep Shabbos. Kosher, forget, I'm having a bacon double cheeseburger that minute. But Shabbos? Oh my God.
But I want to, because not everyone will be watching this on YouTube. We're missing out, I think.
Yeah.
Because
look how gorgeous we are.
Yes. But because if hearing you speak, they would imagine a very different person. So let me just kind of give them a picture. You got white sneakers with Magen Davids on them, blue jeans. You're rocking some dog tags that I want to know about.
Yes.
First, you could, if I met you on the street, I could not imagine you as a Orthodox Jew that goes to, does
modern,
Kiddush, modern Orthodox Jew.
You know my joke about that. After all these years, I finally figured out what modern means in modern Orthodox. It means not so.
Not so.
Yes, I'm not so Orthodox. But you wouldn't picture me being the Chabad guy going, did you put on tefillin yet? Did you put on tefillin? That's not me, even with the beard.
But you're equally dedicated.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And dedicated to turning people on to the beauty of it, not to, you better not do this and you better do that.
But you keep Shabbat and you're also a comedian. How does that work? Isn't like Friday night the biggest
It's
night?
the big night. Yeah, it's the big night.
And you've been in the business for 30?
It's why I didn't take an Uber Black here. I just took a regular one because I would have made a lot of more money if I worked on Friday night. But there's also a lot of ramifications by keeping Shabbos that are negative in show business or in any business. I mean, I was fired from the TV show Bones because I had done a few episodes and it was a recurring role, and they asked me to come in and film on a Saturday that was literally leading into first night of Pesach, Passover. Mm-hmm. So I would miss, work on Shabbos, which I don't do, and then miss my first Seder with my family and parents and everybody. So I just went, oh my God, I can't because it's the Sabbath and it's Passover. They're like, well, that's when we're filming. And they just wrote me out of the show.
Wait. No. You can't just like.
This is a big story.
No,
This is a breaking story. Bones is off the air. It did well for like 10 seasons, but it's done.
Well,
you can't go after them now.
You should have had. No, but like.
If they kept me on, it would have done 15 seasons.
Yeah, no. But seriously, like, you say it is almost like, yeah, it's a story. Mm-hmm. It's like something that happened, mm-hmm. but you're basically telling me that you were fired from a show for being who you are.
Right. However, I don't know for sure if it was religious discrimination or it was just, dude, this is when we're filming. We got to write you out and get another actor. You know what I mean? So I don't make it a story because I can't claim it to be that. But it could have been. I mean, it would have been if it was any other religion. They would have been like, "Oh, yes, you have this holiday. Oh, we'll work around your schedule." But yeah, these crazy Jews with their little holidays and their Sabbath. No, they should have worked around my schedule. I was an integral part. I was actually I played a gynecologist on TV. Mm-hmm. I'm not one, but I played one on TV. And I was literally going to deliver in this episode the baby of Bones. The character is called Bones. The show is called Bones. And I was dating Bones' friend and also a gynecologist. And this was it was a season finale, actually. And then I was going to come back for the following season. And I just went, I just can't work this day. And they couldn't work around me. They just fired me.
See, for me, the problem is not that...
There's malice. Right. You don't know.
It's you never know if there's malice. But the problem is that while we can't know for sure, it's relatively clear that of any other religious observance, if this was on a December 24th, we got to film on December 24th. And if you're an observant Christian, you'd be like, no, I'm with my family. Mm-hmm. No one would be like, you're fired.
Right.
And by the way, as they should, if you're a Muslim and like, we need you to eat on on camera. I said, well, it's Ramadan. I can't eat. You wouldn't be like, you're fired. No. You'd be like, and as you should, like you have your liberties. You have freedom from and of religion.
Right. But the question is, was it malice? Was it real discrimination? Or was it you take out the malice of it and you just go, people just don't care about Jews. They don't care about our religion and they don't respect it. As they should, being the first monotheistic religion. They should respect it for the gifts of the Jews. Like Jews and Judaism should be exalted and respected because of our gifts of ethics and morals, 10 Commandments, Shabbat. Yeah. We gave the world the weekend. We gave you the weekend. You were going to work 7 days a week. We gave you the weekend off and you hate us.
I recently had a conversation with someone exactly about that. And they said, yeah, it's amazing that they put, that we have a Shabbat, but why did they put it on the weekend?
Right.
I was like, so funny. No. The weekend came after Shabbat. It's not like, can't they do Shabbat on the weekday? It was like, no, that would make it a weekend.
That's so great. And then every religion took it, The Christians went, we want Shabbat. And, well, they have Saturday. Oh, we'll take Sunday. And then the Muslims were like, what about us? We would love to have this Shabbat. They took the weekend. All right, Friday. But everyone wants that piece of...
And then atheists took Taco Tuesday because they didn't have anything else.
Hey, I thought I was supposed to be the funny guest. And then atheists took Taco Tuesday is hilarious. I might use that.
So you don't really need to give me credit. But
I won't.
But here's the thing. You not only are an Orthodox Jew.
Yes.
But that's part of your routine. It's not only a routine.
Right.
You make
of course.
you make light of your or in fun
Of
of your
everything.
family, of
Yes.
being a man, of marriage, like all like regular. But you also talk a lot about your Jewishness, Judaism, about Israel, about
Yeah.
how did you find that voice?
My friend Neil Brennan, who created Chappelle Show with Dave, always said to me, write what you care about most. Write what you care about. And that just turned, I was just writing bits about little observations about this. What do I care about most? I care about my family, my wife, my kids. So I'm going to write about them, but you have to poke fun a little, but that's okay. And I care about our people. I care about, humanity. I care about Israel, and I care about my faith. So I started writing about that. But again, in comedy, when you're writing, you're poking fun a little. People always say, why do you make fun of our culture, and why do you make fun of Judaism? There's always those negative, haters who don't get it and don't see what I'm really trying to do is put off a positive image about Judaism and our heritage. I go, well, I'm not making fun. See, you make fun of something when you dislike it, right? And it's usually an outsider, and then you're making fun. I poke fun, and when you poke fun, you're an insider. You're finding what's the funny, what's the weird thing about it, and you're poking fun, but with love. And if you do that, then
But let me play devil's advocate for a second.
Oh,
Yeah.
I would never want to be married to you.
I'm lucky.
You're always right.
Yeah.
He's always right.
Unfortunately,
Not
sometimes
in your
my wife
marriage.
says she
Yeah.
would never want to be
Yeah,
married to me. I'm just
exactly,
like, no choice.
exactly.
But
By the way, also so good to see this side of you, because what we see at home, and we love it, and we need more of it, is the yelling, screaming
it's
Shai.
so
And now this is the
weird.
calm.
It's so weird because
It's not you. I could
that's
tell.
not.
I could
well,
tell
no,
it's
no,
not you.
it's part of me. Like I know that you need to raise your voice sometimes to get attention, and sometimes I feel so much anger and pain, and it's like I'm not going to edit it out for you because I don't. Like I said, I want amplifiers. I don't want followers. So I'm going to be myself, and if you think that that's true, you will amplify.
But
then
your nature is soft.
There's also like the professor Shai,
Yes.
who's like explanatory. And
Yes.
and then not a lot of people know this, but I also used to do some stand up, and and it was horrible.
I
and that's
knew
why
you
I
were
do this.
funny.
No, that's why I don't do it, because I wasn't funny.
No,
But-
I knew you're a naturally funny guy. Wow, you did stand up.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
But here's the thing that because you said like people, feel uncomfortable when you laugh about Jewish stuff. And when I used to do like I had a type 5, you could say.
Wow.
And it was about anti-Semitism, Holocaust, stuff like that.
Oh.
But I think the problem is that Jews are not the only, but one of the only minorities that non-Jewish comedians also make fun of.
Mm-hmm.
And the audience sees that, and they don't know, is this person on our side or not on our side?
Mm-hmm.
Is that an observation that have you noticed this? That, you can make fun of the Jews.
Mhm.
You mentioned Dave Chappelle,
Mhm.
saying that you can't say the Jews. And
Right.
I can say the Jews.
Right.
The Jews are great.
Right.
It's the intention.
Right.
Not a lot of other minorities, you get a free pass for just making observations about.
Yeah. But that is with everything, not just comedy. That's with everything. The double standard of Jews, or now the Jewish state in the last 76 years, is just that it's okay, they're Jews. It's the craziest thing how any comedian can make fun of Jews not being a Jewish comedian and totally get away with it. But if I ever, and not that I would, but if I ever made fun of Muslims and made fun of their culture and their heritage, oh my God. First of all, it would be more than just a little criticism,
Yeah.
But, you're asking why is it different with Jews? That is the question of the day. Why is everything, why when the Jews defend themselves and their country, they're not allowed to? Why is it no negotiations with terrorism? Well, except the Jews, you better start negotiating with these people. As if you can. As if you could go over to Jeffrey Dahmer. Remember him? As if you could say to him, Jeffrey, listen, I know you're going to murder me. I get that. Just don't eat me. I don't want to be eaten. That's so weird. And he'd be like, okay, so just the murder, but no eating. No, he's going to kill you and then eat you because that's what he does, because he's the most evil, one of the most evil, vile people that ever lived. And he would murder innocent people and then eat them. And you can't sit down and go, just the eating parts that I have an issue with, Jeff. Just don't do that.
But
you can't talk to Hamas.
But here's the thing. Some people, probably not my audience, but some people might see this clip and say, he just compared Hamas, the freedom fighters in the Middle Eastern conflict to Jeffrey Dahmer.
Right. Those people are batshit crazy. I mean, if you're calling them freedom fighters or calling this resistance, what are they resisting? I have a better question. What were they resisting before the occupation? Right? What were they resisting in the Hebron massacre of 22 when there was no Israel, IDF, or anything? It was just Jews and Arabs living in British Mandate Palestine. And then there were massacres. Was that resistance? What was the resistance of, let's see, every single Arab country Jews were expelled and murdered out of? What was the resistance there? What's the resistance now? Also, you can't even say that word. It's not resistance. Resistance is the cover for what it is: extermination and genocide. That's the genocide. The insane twist of everything is we're being accused of committing genocide. No, we're preventing genocide. And it is so crazy to me that people take words and just, once you put a word out there, apartheid, someone just hears and go, who? Israel, the Jews, white collar, like you just have to put the word genocide. Who's doing genocide? Israel. Oh my God, it's crazy that people buy into, because they're also just looking to hate. Everybody wants to hate, not just Jews. We shouldn't take it so personally. Everybody wants to hate. Hatred of the other is every other. And by the way, I was just thinking about this the other day. There's also hatred of the same. People hate their family members, and fathers and mothers don't talk to kids, and kids don't talk to them, and brothers and sisters don't talk to each other. That's the same person. We have the same everything, blood, gene pool, and everything, and there's hatred there. So of course there's gonna be hatred of the other. This isn't though about hatred. I see this whole thing as just, well, it's too big to get into, but how much time left do we have?
We have as much time as you want.
Okay, good.
For you, Elon?
Okay, good. Because, to me, this is such a bigger picture thing. It's about so many things. It's not just about hatred, right? If you think about it, it's about so much. Here's my point. Just to give you because you're a professor, if I'm writing the essay, I would just make these few points when I look at this entire conflict, right? And I hate. And
you also have that word conflict that is also problematic.
I don't. The word Middle Eastern conflict. It's never been a Middle Eastern conflict. It's like saying the European conflict. No. That was a Holocaust. It was not a conflict. It's not a conflict now, and it's never been between Jews and Arabs. Was it a conflict between Jews and Nazis? Was that a conflict?
Well, it was a conflict. The Nazis wanted to kill us, and we had a problem with
right.
That is
but
a
conflict has two parties that are. No, it's just an extermination. It's like I also take issue with calling 48 or 67 wars. Now, of course, I understand there were battles and they are wars, but they weren't wars. They were attempted exterminations. That's what 48 was. And of course, before the occupation, before settlements, for any excuse to hide behind, in 1948, there was an attempted extermination of the Jews living in the Middle East. And that's what happened. And there's such a difference between attempted extermination and, a war or a conflict between countries over land, over this, over ideology. This is just, no. We want you dead and out of here. That's not a conflict or a war. And now was October 7th a war?
It's like calling a husband that is beating his wife.
That is the exact analogy.
It's a marital dispute.
You are a comedian because you think in analogies, and comedians.
I'm a professor.
No,
here's the thing. But while we're speaking, I realize comedians and professors, our entire job is to look at the words and the meaning and distill them to what they are actually supposed to mean versus what they are distorted to mean, right? Irony is when the literal definition of the word is the complete opposite of how you use it. And unfortunately, what we're seeing is not enough professors speaking out and saying, you are distorting the words, and not enough comedians are coming. It's like, there's so much amazing content to be made right now about, white Wisconsin kids shouting for, about something they have no idea about. Yet everyone is quiet. Where are these, comedians love to say that we're not jesters. We are commentators. We're modern day philosophers. If Socrates, was alive today, he wouldn't be walking around. He would be in the Comedy Cellar, right? Well, where are you? Where are they? Why are you one of the few? Obviously there's a few other, all of them Jewish.
Yeah.
But
or Chris Rock, who makes the greatest case for his people with the best jokes and best bits and greatest energy and timing delivery ever. Like Chris Rock, people ask me, who's your favorite? It's Rock. And I get to be friends with him and hang out with him backstage at the Garden or whatever. And it's the coolest thing. But Rock takes his anger at racism, at injustice, at everything, and turns it into comedy. And that's what I do too. And it's like,
so we want to see a Rock and Gold.
That's funny.
Rock and Gold, like taking down Hamas.
Yeah. And when you can make your points through comedy, when people are laughing, it's in their subconscious that what's happening is that they're understanding the point you're making, but what you hear and what you experience is laughter. But really we're seeping in there and we're getting to you and what is our point? And when you do that through comedy, it's literally like a trick.
How do you know when your audience is laughing with you versus at you?
They're never laughing at me.
Because we're all Jewish?
No,
because like, and again, I hate bringing up Dave Chappelle because after his The Jews rant on SNL, I don't care how genius of a comedian he is.
Right.
Anti-Semites can be genius comedians.
Right.
And I erased him. But he made a point early on in his career when he stopped performing for a while because he felt that he was making light of the African-American experience.
Yes.
And the audience wasn't
with him. They were laughing at him.
The humor was like, they were laughing as like, something's off with this laughter.
Right.
Right. How do you know when you're making...
I don't have that issue. I don't think anyone's ever laughing at me, because it's just different kinds of comedy that I'm doing. And just getting back to Chappelle, because he's an old friend, so it's very difficult.
I know that.
Yeah, it's a touchy subject, and some of his best friends and closest friends are people like Jeff Ross, great Jewish comedian. He has a lot of Jewish, very close friends. So, and we all have our, issues with certain things he said. It's funny you say that the SNL. To me, that was more parody and him trying to make a few sinister points, but also because he was being like, he was dispelling stereotypes at the same time as reinforcing them. So the problem is you don't want to reinforce, but at least he's dispelling. Like when he says, of course, Jews don't control Hollywood. No one control. That would be he said you'd have to be insane to think that. He goes, but there's a lot of Jews. He's right. There are a lot of
But then he ended up by saying,
who's doing it? You know who. But maybe that's comedy. I'll tell you what wasn't comedy.
It is comedy.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what wasn't comedy. But I want to hear your point. But
because my concern was, and I always say, like, comedy, the whole idea of comedy is there's no boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's unclear to your audience that your heart is in the right place, then your audience might act on whatever you're saying. And
Correct.
And Dave Chappelle's The Jews rant, it wasn't also his best work. It wasn't. I think it was below average work for him.
Right.
But what it led to is many people saying, Dave Chappelle is saying what I believe.
Correct.
Right. And that's why
it's dangerous.
When you touch on a touchy subject, and you should be extra
on the right side, that you're on.
Show that you're on the right side. And
Correct.
It's easy when you're a Jew laughing at Jews, then
That's such a great point. When you're watching Dave, you don't know. What side are you on, though? Are you condoning this? Are you reinforcing it? Or are you making fun of it? Are you parodying it? You don't know because there could be some anti-Semitism in there. I would not deny it. You don't know for sure. But when I did know for sure that he was making an anti-Israel point in the Space Jews bit, which isn't even also not a good bit. But the Space Jews, the whole beauty of comedy, especially his comedy, it comes from truth. It was out of the false narratives and the lies that we colonized, we stole. You ever see the bit Space Jews?
I haven't seen that.
You
one,
must
no.
see it. It will enrage you because comedy has
I typically don't go online saying like, "What will enrage me today?" I have enough
Honey,
of that
you
in
have
my
anything
life.
to enrage me? Send me a... No.
I've found out that as a Jew, I'm very calm in the last 11 months. Like, no, that's not.
Please watch this just for your own enragement.
And you
instead
realize
of
that
your own
everyone
enjoyment.
listening in is going to be Googling Dave
Space
Chappelle
Jews.
Space Jews.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, for your own enragement. It's all lies. He literally makes us out to be these people that came from out of nowhere, as if we didn't come from the land of Israel, as if we're not indigenous, and just colonized and stole. And then the worst thing he said is, and then treats the people who they stole it from worse than they were ever treated.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I don't think anyone could ever treat
Argue
anyone
that.
worse than we were treated
well,
by
first
the
of all,
Nazis.
Suffering is not an Olympics.
It's not an Olympics,
sport.
yeah.
But
But those are lies.
those are lies.
We're not out to treat anyone. I have a joke. I go, Israel is not oppressing the Gazans, okay? You know why? And first of all, it's obvious who is. It's Hamas. It's their own leadership.
Yeah.
Like any place that had an Arab Spring, it's your own leadership that is oppressing the people. North Korea too, and Iran and Syria and wherever there's these evil dictatorships. They're oppressed by their own leadership, and that's the same with the Gazans, and it's tragic that they are oppressed. But don't blame Israel. And I go, the joke is, Jews are not in the oppression business. There's no money in it. Anyway, but the reality is, of course, we don't oppress. We're not looking to oppress. It is so antithetical to our values. It is. See, I even try to use a big word and I sound like an idiot. You understand what I'm saying? That like you can't even say that Jews are oppressing these people because we don't want to. And that to me is, it all comes down to want. The word want. Think about that. So one of my closest friends, Jeremy Gerlich, he's a great writer and director. He did The Hangover and all these amazing big comedies. And he was talking about screenwriting. He goes, when you're writing a script, the only thing you really have to focus on is, what does your main character want? He goes, because if you look at every movie, and now you could look at it from a different perspective, oh, it's this guy or this woman wants something, and that's the entire movie. What does he want? And that makes it a story, because the story of all of us is, what do we want? So when you look at this situation, you go, what does Hamas want and what does Israel want? It is so clear. Israel wants not one dead civilian. Hamas wants not one living civilian.
It's clear to you and I.
Right, but how is that not clear to everyone? Because they tell you. Like, they literally...
No, it's clear to you and I that I think many people realize Hamas is evil.
Mm-hmm.
But it's clear to you and I that Israel does not want
Correct.
many dead civilians or at
Not
all.
one. Yeah.
That's why they send out flyers. That's why they send out the text messages. That's why it's very
And
precision.
that's a genocide? Were there flyers coming down Auschwitz? I mean, you can't call it a genocide. They are tragic casualties of war. And a war we didn't start or want. We don't want these wars. But what do they want? You always have to look, how do people not see two sides? Okay, this side wants coexistence, wants peace, right? They want all the things that you should want. And that side, especially Hamas, I'm not talking about all Palestinians, obviously, wants and talks about what they want: the extermination of Jews. They want their version of radical, fundamental, Islam to be the prevailing religion and way of life. And if you look at just what do they want and what do they want, you have to pick a side. And if you pick that side, they want death and destruction and not coexistence. They want love and peace and coexistence. And you pick that side, there's something wrong with you. And there's nothing I could do or you could do or say. We could scream forever to change that, because there's something wrong with them. It's not just that their moral compass is off. They have no morality. They don't have morals. And there are people out there with no morals. That's why there are rapists and pedophiles. They don't have morals.
But here's the thing.
Please don't touch those children. Okay. You can't talk to anyone that is full of this, has this evil or this. Yeah.
Yeah. I had a professor. So I got my PhD in psychology and social psychology. And I had this professor of moral psychology, David Pizarro, incredible guy. And he would make this point explaining the difference. I'm going to nerd out a little bit between utilitarianism and deontological thinking.
Whoa,
right?
whoa, whoa. And that's where you lose me.
Exactly. So basically utilitarianism is, we make moral judgments based on the impact, based on the consequences, and we try to minimize harm as much as possible and maximize benefit.
Right.
Deontological is rule-based following. This is right, this is wrong. And he gives the example, here's the best way to, help as many children as possible, save them from pedophiles. You go and you tell every pedophile, what if you signed a contract that you cut the number of kids you attack by 50%?
Wow.
We can save 50% of the children right now. You'll never go to prison if you cut it by 50%. And of course, none of us would say, yes, that sounds right, because there is a right and there's a wrong. And that is where the Kantian deontological, morality comes in, that one child is one child too many. And the same thing is with terrorism. What if you can only kill what if you only keep the some of the hostages? You release the civilians, but you keep some of them. What if you keep the dead bodies? Just that is not how you engage in conversation when it comes to morality.
Wow.
This is dark.
No, it's not dark. It's perfect. And it's truth. It's emet. And it's making me think, why am I even here? You shouldn't have guests. No, I'm not kidding. There's nothing that I will ever say that will come close to how important that is. And you should just have your own podcast.
Here's why you're here. No,
that was unbelievable.
No, here's why you're here. Honestly,
did you guys see that?
You're embarrassing.
He should not have
but
guests.
Here's
what
why.
Am I going to say now? No. Hey, you see the debate the other?
Elon, here's why you're here. Because on December 12th or 13th, 2023, there was an article in the Jewish Link that was right after a show you played in Teaneck, New Jersey, which is 6 weeks after that horrible massacre. And the article's title the headline was, Elon Gold brings Teaneck the laughter we all need right now. I don't know how to do that. On October, November, December, January, February, I still am in some degree, in a very dark place. And yet you were able to stand up in front of a community of people grieving and give them some respite.
Yeah.
I want to understand how you do that. Because for me, that is part of the fight. The fight can't always be just activism and calling out professors. It's also giving people that love and passion and heart and the ability to keep going. And I don't know how you do that.
I think it's one word. It's compartmentalize. There's so many times in the day when I am full of sorrow and then rage and then goofy and funny. But you have to compartmentalize. You have to say, I have to put all of this away and do my job. I had to do this. So October 7th, I canceled everything. I couldn't ever even attempt to be funny, and no one should be laughing. And this went on for a couple of weeks, and I was still in that mode. But I got a call from this Jewish Federation thing, and I booked months and months ago. And they go, I go, you're canceling, right? Because I was about to call you to cancel. And they go, no. We actually want you to do this. We need you to be here to MC this and to bring some laughter. The healing must begin at some point. And I said, but it feels disrespectful to be a jokester and for them to laugh in this time. They're hostages. It doesn't feel right. They begged me to do it. And I went, okay. And that was my first show back. It was a few weeks after. And I got on stage and I said, we all know what we're going through. This is hell. This is horror. It's a horror. And but we're going to take a little moment right now to have a drink, a nosh, and a laugh. Just to have that break.
That's the title of your memoir.
A drink, a nosh, and a laugh. Just to have that break. And then I started with my first joke, and they were laughing, and then more and more and more. And this is just because it's endless. The horror show and then the comedy show. It just happened recently when I found out that Hirsch, who I said Hirsch's name every day. I'm going to cry if I even talk about him.
Hirsch Goldberg Pol.
Yeah.
Who was executed by Hamas.
Yeah. I can't even talk about it or I'll cry. But him and 5 others were just brutally murdered after 330 days of pure hell. Now we see what those tunnels are. You can't even stand up. You can't breathe. It's such an unfathomable hell. And I said his name every day for 330 days in my morning prayers, and other names, and all the and all the hostages and all the soldiers and all the good people, and the good people, yes, even on the other side that I'm praying for, the good ones who should also live and thrive, as everyone has the right to. Again, it's what do you want? One side wants just for everyone to have, to be in battle and conflict, and one side wants for everyone to thrive and live and Nova Fest and all that. So it all always comes back to want. I know your point was better, but the want thing is you have to, you have to focus on that. But so this happened, and I got the news. When I saw the news of that, it was just earth-shattering. It wasn't just broke my heart. It was earth-shattering news that these 6 were murdered. And then 5 days later, I have a show to do that I committed in Herzliya in Israel, in the country, to the people that this is happening to.
Wow.
And I immediately called the producers. I go, we're canceling this. And they're like, why? I'm like, well, you know why. And they no, of course I know why, but why would you cancel it? Because we're in this constant horror where every day we lose, soldiers, we lose civilians, we lose people. But yet the Israeli way is that we have to continue on with life, or the cliche is the terrorists win, but it's so much bigger than that. Yeah. It's we have to, for our own sanity and mental well-being, we have to. And they said to me, you have to do this show because yes, we are grieving. But in a few days, we're going to pick up and go, okay, we've got to get back to life now because we're all about life. They're not so much. They're more about death. And we have to get to life. So now for me, I'm like spending the week crying and angry. And you compartmentalize. You go, now let's do a comedy show. And let's make these hundreds of people laugh. And let's have this momentary pause in the hell that we're all living. And boy, is it a new hell. The saddest thing to me, the new reality of because we always knew about anti-Semitism.
I want you to talk about this, but that takes immense strength.
It's rough, yeah.
What's the cost?
It was so healing, by the way. It was so healing for all of us. I felt better.
For you as well?
Absolutely, I felt better. After connecting with my people in our homeland, with comedy, it was so healing. I mean, there's comedy at Shivas, you know that. Yeah. You sit at Shiva, there's comedy during the funeral. People give eulogies, and
typically that's me, and it's frowned upon.
Yeah,
not the dead guy, me, the one giving the jokes. Yeah.
No, but people do well. They kill at funerals, because life is you have to laugh at life. But this is the part that's really getting to me. Not more than everything, but it really hurts me. We always knew about anti-Semitism, and we're almost the same age. You look and are probably younger than me, but we grew up in a time when we knew about anti-Semitism, but we didn't feel it, and we didn't really experience it. I experienced it a couple of times as a kid and growing up in the Bronx, like, hey, Jew, whatever. That's like, hey, fatso. That's not the anti-Semitism.
Which, by the way, you shouldn't be calling people fatso.
I agree. But I'm just saying it's still like sticks and stones. It's still, hey, fatty, whatever it is. It's just something negative and some bully, having his moment of harassment.
Right.
That's not the anti-Semitism our grandparents experienced. That was a different kind of anti-Semitism. And now my children, this generation, it literally skipped over. We just experienced that, oh, I think they hate us, and oh, we know what happened to our grandparents, and but everything's doing all right now, and they hate everyone, whatever. My children are now living their lives completely differently than I did. They're living their lives knowing that they're hated and they're targeted for murder.
Do they walk around? So you walk around with a dog tag, but I want to ask you about. But
Yeah,
do they
they
walk
do.
around with some public displays of their Jewishness?
Absolutely. Every single one of them. Magen David in Israel, the country, what is it?
The
It's
map.
like a necklace. Yeah, the map. Every one of them walks around with pride. And it's a beautiful thing because it also is
That's
dangerous now.
That is a form of protest.
Yeah, it's a form of protest, and it's a form of pride.
I tell people, like, I don't have to wear Magen David. It's not a religious
Right.
obligation. I
Right.
choose to be Jewish in public.
Correct.
That is a choice, and that's a choice that I'm trying to get every Jew in the world to do. Show somehow, tzitzis, yarmulke, Star of David, the pin, whatever it is. Show that you're Jewish in public.
Yeah.
So what's the story of your
This
dog
is
tag?
my last trip in Israel. I went there.
Can you show it to the camera?
Yes.
Just so
So I'll show you the reveal. So if you get a close up of this,
flip it around.
and then I'm going to flip it.
Oh.
But this is the reveal. So this is the back of it. This is what really happened to a soldier. Thank God he lived, but he got shot, and through the dog tag, and maybe that helped him survive. He was lying in the hospital, and his mother's looking. He's still wearing this, and she looks at it, and she thinks she's an artist. She goes, "I'm going to turn your bullet hole into this, a Magen David." And she's an artist, so she rendered thousands and thousands of these. This is not the actual one, obviously. And now it's this beautiful, this disgusting, vile, ugly bullet becomes this beautiful Magen David. This sign of the symbol of.
That's beautiful.
of
I urge
Judaism.
everyone who's listening
this.
to just, even if you don't watch all of this on YouTube,
Yeah.
just scroll to whatever minute 48
Yeah,
and see this.
it's awesome. And then this, I can't believe I'm still wearing. I can't wait to take this off.
This is the
Hostages. I cannot believe that we're a year in now. And to me, everyone should be like you, screaming. Everyone, whether you have a platform or not, everyone has a voice.
Yeah.
Everyone should be just screaming day and night about those
Here's
hostages.
the irony. If we were all speaking up, none of us would need to be screaming. I am screaming because not everyone's speaking up. We could all be speaking up in our normal voice and it would be like the roar of Judea, right? But because so many of us, and by the way, non-Jews are also not screaming, not speaking up. I want to ask you about something that happened a decade ago. August 22nd, 2014. You've written about this. You're walking to Shabbat service.
Home from a Shabbat
from
dinner.
Shabbat
Yeah.
dinner.
The
with
wife
your-
and little kids at the time.
in LA.
Yeah.
Black Mercedes
SUV.
SUV
Yeah.
pulls aside. What happens?
4 Middle Eastern men just pull up and they start screaming at us. And we're just this family walking home from Shabbat. Now, this is during the Gaza conflict.
So they're
Yeah.
1 second. So did they recognize you as Elon Gold?
No.
So they're not screaming at Elon Gold. They're screaming at
Jews.
some Jews.
Yeah.
Okay.
A Jewish family with
Yeah.
little kids pushing a stroller.
Your 5-year-old, your 10-year-old was there. Yeah.
Strollers. And again, because of the lies.
What did they scream at you?
I'll tell you. But in 2014, during that Gaza conflict, because of the lies and the disproportionate numbers, disproportionate use of force, when they just kept firing rockets and it was like, enough is enough. We got to stop these rockets. It can't rain rockets. Anywhere in the world, it should not rain rockets, not one. And then the conflict, happened. And it's not a conflict, it's not a war. It's just self-defense. And what it did is it emboldened many who already have a proclivity towards hating Israel and the Jewish people. It emboldens you to now I'm going to speak up because look what they're doing. Look what the Jews are doing to us. So that's exactly what they yelled at us. The one guy, he got out of the car and he stood up and he faced me. And I immediately I'm like, this could really go south and get violent in a second. You can't trust anybody. And
especially
I like
not people that pull
screaming
up
at Jews
to a
and stuff.
family of Jews
Yeah.
screaming at them.
So I like sort of like shield my kids like this and step forward.
What was he screaming?
He yelled, "I hope your children die," with my children right there. "I hope your children die, just like you're killing children in Gaza." And it was.
Are you Israeli?
No.
You're Jewish.
Yeah.
Born and raised.
Yeah.
Here?
The only killing I do is of audiences at my shows.
Yeah.
I don't like you're killing children. We're all complicit. We're the only people that have shared responsibility. When people tragically die in Iraq and Afghanistan, you don't go over to an American and go, because you are you're just an American.
I hope your children
Right.
die.
I hope your children die. But that's, again, it's the difference. With Jews, we're all responsible for the actions of the few. And by the way, I support of course I don't support the killing of innocent. That's, again, tragic casualties of war.
That's what want comes in.
That's where want comes in. But like
he wants your children.
He
to die.
wants your children. And it was such an interesting distinction that the police officer made. We called the police, we were freaking out. My kids didn't want to go home. They were traumatized. And again, never experienced in LA or anywhere this level of overt anti-Semitism. I hope you die. And the officer explained to us, well, this wasn't a hate crime. It was a hate incident. I'm like, what's the difference? He goes, well, a hate crime, you have to be either attacked or threatened. The threat of you being attacked for whatever you are is a hate crime. They were just sort of hoping, wishing for your death. So now it's an incident.
So going up to your 5-year-old daughter, right at the time,
crying,
screaming at her face
after it happened. Yeah.
I hope you die.
Yeah.
And all like an adult screaming at a Jewish little girl, I hope you die, is not a hate crime because he's just hoping for her death.
Right. I'm not going to do it. And, but I would love it if someone else, I hope someone else does it to you.
I hope that guy stubs toe in the middle of the night every night for the rest of his life. I'm not saying I'm going to do it.
No, I wouldn't do it.
But that's what
I hope for worse for him. But anyway, I really got dark recently when my hopes for people have gotten even more dark. When I see someone ripping down hostage posters, I won't even tell you what I wish for that person because it's too dark. But if you are tearing down the picture of a baby or the elderly or anyone who's held captive, I wish you things that I can't talk about.
It's weird. I don't.
Wow, that's crazy. You think people like that are redeemable?
No, but it's a choice. A choice I make. I really work hard on not harboring hate in me because I can't control their level of hatred.
Right.
But I can control what I think, feel, and do. And
I feel like I'm being scolded by the professor.
No, not at all. Not at all.
You don't have to hate that much, young man.
No, but I want to go back 1 second to the 2014 incident because you wrote about what you then said to your children, which was so beautiful.
Oh, I don't even remember.
You don't remember.
No.
That is my job. You see, that's why I need guests.
That's amazing.
You said that you could have said, there are bad people in the world, there's anti-Semitism, there's blah, 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 But what you did is you said that you hugged your children and said, when you think about children in Israel, think about them having indirect interactions with people like this on a daily basis. And that is how you understand what's happening there.
Where their lives are actually threatened and often taken. Yeah. I wrote that article. I couldn't sleep, obviously, the whole night. And then Saturday night when Shabbos was over, I said, I feel like I have to talk about this, but certainly not comedically. So I said, I'm going to write an article. I didn't write the article to tell people what happened to me, although there was a part of me that wanted to put out this little warning to Jewish communities everywhere, like, hey, this just happened. This could happen more. And thank God it dissipated. And now we're back in the biggest, bigger than ever, back and bigger and better than ever. Yeah. And I didn't.
Anti-Semitism 2.0.
Yeah, it was part, here's a warning. I really wrote that article not to tell that little incident story. was to make the case for Israel, because if you read the article, it was 3-4 paragraphs on this is what happened to us, but then it was like 2 pages of, but why did this happen to us?
It was all about words.
It was all about words and the conflict and the false narratives and
Not
the lies,
conflict.
not conflict, but that lead to people doing this to other people. Like these, what's happening today. And again, people don't need an excuse to hate or a reason to hate, and especially Jews. The second you hear anything, they killed Jesus. Oh, well, let's kill them. That's a lie, but you just hear it, and because you kind of want to hate anyway. A lot of these people. They are drinking the blood of Christian children with their Passover month. Like what? Oh, they do. Let's hate them. Let's kill them.
Yeah.
Now the lie is they're committing genocide against Palestinians. They are. Let's kill them. Let's attack them. So they feel just in their cause.
And the them becomes not just them Israeli
Right.
Jews, but them Jews.
Right.
Because that fits.
Yes. But there is no nobility in the anti-Israel cause. The issue is
There's no nobility in any
anti-cause. And that is their cause. It's against. It's not for. And that's been the problem with Palestinian leadership. They're not for the Palestinian people. They're just against the Jewish people. If they were for their people, they wouldn't be building tunnels. They'd be building buildings and schools and hospitals. And Gaza is a gorgeous, I was just in Tel Aviv looking at them. I'm like, this is the same view in Gaza. It's the same view. And they could have the same beautiful hotels and their Kempinskis and their King Davids if they built up and not down. And if they, seek peace and coexistence, then destruction. And it's all what they want. It's all what they want. But to me, it's so crazy that they could have it. They could have anything they want, but they prefer to not help, not be positive, be negative, not to build, but to destroy. And that's the biggest problem there. They just don't want the right thing.
Yeah, I 100% agree. There's one last thing that I want to ask you.
Uh-oh.
Which is also could have been the difference between you, Uber XL, and Uber Black here.
Yes.
Fiddler on the Roof.
Oh, my God. Well, you gave away the punchline, though. But that is a fascinating story.
Fiddler on the Roof.
Fiddler on the darn roof. I could have had it all. No, it's just, it's a great story about Jewish pride and sometimes the lack thereof, and how important and necessary it is to have always, and never second guess. So it's a story about my dad. My parents are teachers. They're retired now, but they're teachers. So teachers don't make a lot. I don't know if you heard.
Yeah.
And
well, they make enough now to buy kafiyas.
Yes, that they have. But anyway, so they're teachers, but my father has this affinity for the theater, and in particular musicals and Broadway musicals were his thing. And so he would go to these backers auditions where even if you have like $500 you save up, you can invest in a play that will come out if you get enough investors. So they would have hundreds of people investing, hundreds or thousands or whatever, and then they would make the show. And my dad would go to all these plays and he would invest, this is good, and then it would flop in the day one, and this looks like a good play. And then he sees one show and he says, this is the greatest show I've ever seen. It's the greatest show I've ever seen, but it's too Jewish. Not investing in that one. Cut to, we lived in the Bronx for about 30 years.
But that, to me, when I read that, first of all, I was like, your dad saw Chaim Topol in a backing audition?
Oh,
That's incredible.
Saw Strides, saw everyone, Sammy Davis Jr. Yeah.
But to me, the fact that it would
have changed our lives.
Yes, but that being too Jewish would push someone away, especially a Jew, from backing the project.
But it didn't push him away in a sense where he was like, and I don't like that it's too Jewish. He loved that it was too Jewish.
He was afraid.
He was afraid. They won't like it.
He was afraid that
they will never like this. Cut to, it's in Japan. And it's their biggest hit because what is it about? Tradition and family. And that's the most relatable thing. And
also it's about the Jews being victims rather than anything else.
But the fear of they're never going to like this, they're never going to get this, I totally understand. So he didn't invest. By the way, right now, thank God, we're living in a time with shtisels and faudas and all these. And I'm working on a movie now with Shuli Rand and Gidi Dar that is very niche of niche of niche, and so Jewish that I'll be wearing payas, and I'm playing a chassid. I'm playing a chassid in this movie. And
what's your chassid
I'm learning
voice?
Yiddish. I have to learn Yiddish.
I've seen
Wie
you.
bist du in Nederland geworden? Where have you been hiding all this time?
I love that
Yeah, you gotta really get into
because
it.
I've seen you do your Israeli accent in
Well,
your.
listen to me. Listen. They say
Come,
the
come,
T.
come.
Yeah, bo. Come. That's what they do. Israelis, they take 8 words and say no. Sorry, Israelis, they take a word and say it 8 times. I don't even know my own act. Israelis take a word in Hebrew and say it 8 times, and then it's English translation 15 more times. So it's always like lo. No. Hey, bo. Come. Well. That's a little bit. But anyway, what we say, oh yeah, so now there's so many great projects, TV, movie, that are overtly and very proudly Jewish.
Jewish pride.
Yeah.
Jewish pride is part of Jewish civil rights.
Thank God. So invest in our fiddlers and everything. Don't divest.
And invest in Elon Gold's
Yes,
shows.
my projects.
Elon, I end every episode with what I call the Jewish lightning round.
I'm not very bright, so this is not going to go well. I need
there's
time to think.
There is no right or wrong
Okay, fine.
answers.
I'm nervous,
You
though.
just say the first thing that comes to
I'm
mind.
nervous. This is like being on $20,000 pyramid. Blink,
And
blink.
you
Things. Reason why people hate Jews. Everything. Every reason. Yeah. You ever see that show?
No.
Oh, so you don't know what I was just doing.
but
Do you?
I have no idea.
What the hell was that?
Reference
$20,000 pyramid.
I think in shekels.
Dick Clark. That was the theme song. And then you sat in the chairs.
You
and
do
one guy gave
realize
clues.
I was born and raised in Israel.
Okay.
I was
then let's move
seeing
on.
Ramat Aviv Gimel.
Wait a minute. $20,000 pyramid. You could have seen them from Israel. What are you talking about? Yeah.
Elon,
Yes.
what is one thing people don't know about you?
How much time can I take between question and answer? How much time?
So they don't know that you're an overthinker.
Oh, nice. That I have slight OCD.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I have a mild case of OCD. I do overthink sometimes. And did I say the wrong thing? It's not the kind of OCD where I have to do things like that, whatever. But it's like, yeah, I don't share that with too many people. But thanks for bringing that up.
What is one thing people don't know about the Jews?
Oh, that we're amazing lovers.
That's so weird.
Nothing on that one?
It's the second time someone has
No
said this in
way.
the show.
Oh, because I'm kidding.
And- and-
what? Really?
I don't think that's true.
No, it's probably not
I
true.
think
It's
we're
very clunky.
Average.
To below average. We get it done. We're okay at it. It's not but it's like, it's an athletic event, that act.
Okay.
And we're not known for our athleticism. But
right.
by the way, we're bringing home some golds. In the Olympics, we brought home some gold.
Quite a few.
Yeah.
What is your favorite curse?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
And anything?
Any language, just say it from the heart.
Okay. I apologize. People are going to get mad at me for this. They're going to get mad at me. I'm going to preface this by saying I'm a feminist. Okay? But I love just going, cunt! It's so fun. Oh, you cunt. I don't even mean it. Woman, man, anyone is a cunt. It's so fun to say when you're at your like
this is like the one time you wish you were British.
Yeah, and they go,
Yeah.
You get like cunt, But I don't. But I wouldn't say that like about a woman, It's more like about a situation or like, oh, these cunts. It's just fun to say. But and I don't say it out of anger. I say it with comedy, knowing that it's funny to say. I say the N-word in my act because in my special, because my whole point is that the entire world should never use this word and be against it and recognize how dehumanizing it is. But I tell a story about when a black guy said it to me, and I use the word to tell the story. But again, if you know where your heart is, if you're on the right side and you're against the word, I don't think you shouldn't be allowed. You can't use that word. No, but I'm showing how dangerous and inflammatory and dehumanizing the word is. I'm not using it. Like I don't do, like I say, yeah. Do you ever use the N-word? Professionally, yeah, not personally. I've never in my.
So you see, this is where this show could be a huge hit if you get canceled before this episode drops.
That would be great. We have proof right here. He said cunt. I mean, what else is there? What do people say? Shit, boring, fuck. Come on. You gotta say by the way, no one else said cunt, let's be honest.
No one has yet. No one
will, because they're afraid to. They're afraid to.
I asked, what's your favorite curse? And it's and when someone says motherfucker, do they mean that this person is someone who engages in sexual? No, of course not.
In motherfucking?
It's a curse.
No. You're going to be bleeping a lot of
when
this out.
Was the last time you cried?
By the way, I love... Oh,
you're not going to run away from this question. When was the last time you cried?
Are you kidding? 20 minutes ago, just bringing up Hirsch's name. I could cry in 10 seconds from that. Yeah. And, what happened to him was just more than crying when I heard. But yeah, that's an easy question. Give me a hard question. By the way, I love how this speed round is going to be about 45 minutes.
Yeah, but only when I have
only
comedians.
One with a speed round that lasted an hour and a half. Go ahead.
If you could have any person over for Shabbat dinner from any moment,
I already had him.
Who would that be?
I already had him.
Who was it?
Larry David.
Tell me, boy.
I had it's a crazy Shabbat dinner. It was my family with Larry David, Albert Brooks, and Barry Weiss, and Nellie, her wife, and all their wives. And wow, what a 3 hours.
And did you end up writing something like a protocols of the elders sign?
No, it was just...
It sounds like every anti-Semite's worst nightmare. You, Barry Weiss, Larry David in the same room.
Yeah. But it was just...
It's the media, it's a comedy, it's everything. Yeah. Okay.
Larry's wife, by the way, literally said when she left, he's never stayed this long anywhere. But it was Shabbos. So it's like fun and meaningful and spiritual. And also he loves impressions. I was doing impressions for like hours of all his favorite people,
I've called him out for not speaking out. So next time.
Yeah, but he doesn't speak out about, there's a lot of people to call out.
But he made a career out of being Jewish.
Right. And so did Adam Sandler.
And I've called him out as well.
Yes. They all should be called out for not saying things, but you also have to do a case by case.
Yes.
Sandler never talks about anything.
Right.
So it's like, but I don't want to talk about this. I still don't let him go. I'm not forgiving.
Not about Israel. I'm talking about anti-Semitism.
Right. Even anti-Semitism talk about.
It's
weird.
But
Larry does it through comedy, I think. He did episodes of Palestinian Chicken. That's how he expresses himself. He's just not a guy that's going to go, and I think that we should stop. Yeah.
Wear a yellow.
Yeah.
Wear a yellow ribbon.
Yeah. By the
whenever
way,
you give
I don't forgive any Jew at any award show that didn't wear a yellow ribbon. I can't forgive that.
What's your favorite Jewish holiday?
Pesach.
What's your least favorite Jewish holiday?
Tisha B'Av, because it's so depressing. It commemorates all of the horrific things, not just the temples. It was like the start of the Inquisition and the start of this. There were so many horrendous things that happened to our people on this day that you really have to tap into that. And you can't just go, well, I'm not going to eat, I'm not going to this. You have to feel it. Feel the pain, feel the tragedy. So that's no fun. Whereas Sukkot, you're just picnicking in these little huts and having fun and every holiday. And I'm sure some people say Yom Kippur, but that is one of my favorite holidays because that is, you get to tap in again to like your soul. And you get to just have a day where you're just a soul. You're not a human being. You're not a person. You barely have a body because you're not really servicing your body with food or anything else. But like you are servicing your soul that entire day. What a great day to enrich your soul. I used to hate Yom Kippur. Now I love it. I'm looking forward to it already this year.
Wow. When do you feel safest?
My wife will joke about this, and then I'm gonna probably die on an airplane because I said this, and whenever you put it out there, it happens. Please don't kill me on an airplane. But my wife always mocks me.
This episode go viral.
Right.
Are you gonna say you feel safest on an airplane?
Correct.
You fly first class?
No, not all the time. No, not at all.
Not all.
No. And by the way, where I feel safest of safe on El Al.
Yes.
Because thank God It's never been an issue. I feel
It's funny that you say I feel safest on the one carrier that is targeted by every terrorist around the world.
Isn't that amazing? But the reason I just feel safe on airplanes is because, again, whereas like you look at the stats of car accidents versus plane, I just feel safe. I'm just there. I know I'm going to get to my destination. I know I've got a great crew and pilots that are going to get me there. I know that this works because there's thousands of flights a day with almost zero incidents. I also have faith in God, but it's just, I feel safe on a plane. I'm not going to get mugged. No one's going to yell at me. I hope your children die. Like it's a weird thing. And my wife mocks me about it. And, if I go, well, if I'll joke like, well, if I make it there, I thought you're going to the safest place ever, but I don't know what it is. I feel safe on airplanes, especially on El Al. Just flew in from El Al. I just felt so safe. I felt like these great, strong, brilliant Israelis are going to take me back to New York.
When do you feel least safe?
Oh my God. I hate to say this, but this is the first time ever, this recent trip, and I've been to Israel many times, and 3 times in the last 6 months, where I felt unsafe in Israel. The first time. People always say when I go, you feel safe there? Beyond safe. This is the first time, and it was more than just unsafe. I felt uneasy. I felt just that at all the fronts that want to attack and are threatening. I felt Iran. I felt the internal strife of the country that's going on. I felt it. There were protests everywhere, and I felt uneasy and unsafe in Israel for the first time ever, and that has to change because I always feel safe in Israel. And if the one thing we can't control is the internal strife. We have to change that. We were on the same page for like a couple of months, and then it's all bad again.
What gives you hope?
It's just, what it is. It's the faith. It's emunah. It's just, you have to put your hope in Hashem. And even though terrible things happen to so many people every second of every day that I can't explain or understand, I still put all my faith in Hashem. So when I look up to Hashem, I feel that hope. When I'm davening in the morning, when I'm praying in the morning, it's also the only time of the day that I'm like, I feel so hopeful because I'm praying to God, who is the creator and giver of all. So I just feel that he gave me. So now can he help me with other things and help the world with other things? It's not just, I never just pray for myself. And I actually find lately I spend 5% on me and my family and 95% on our people, on humanity. So much of my prayer right now is on the hostages. I take out a list and I read and I pray so hard for them. And it's just
I'm
the bane of my existence. Yeah.
To add to your list, Rachel Goldberg Poland.
Yeah.
Who, we didn't do enough to save her son.
Yeah.
But we need, I don't believe, I'm not a believer, but yeah.
You're so right. And by the way, I wouldn't talk about this, but you brought it up and I certainly would never post about it. But on my recent trip, I went from Tel Aviv. I begged the director of my movie, can we not start at 9 a.m.? Can we start at 11 a.m.? Because I must pay a Shiva call to the Goldberg Polans. And it was the last shacharit of, the Shiva. And I went over to them and they don't know me. And I just gave John a big hug. And I said, I'm a friend of our mutual friend is Sachi. And I just wanted to be here. And I hugged him. And then I turned to Rachel and I looked at her and I just said, I just want you to know that every day for 330 days, I said Hirsch's name. And I'm sorry, but we tried. We did try. We didn't do enough, and certainly Biden didn't do enough. Bibi didn't do it. Whatever spectrum you're on, everyone is to blame. You, me, we didn't do enough, but we tried. Some of us tried.
The only people,
but we failed them.
The only people that went the whole 9 yards
was her and him. Was the parents?
I was going to say Hamas.
They did. You mean they because
they
the
did
parents,
exactly
correct.
what they said.
And that's the only one to blame.
Yeah.
You could blame Bibi and scream about Biden didn't do it. I think Biden should have sent special forces in. I think there should have been a United Nations of people, of forces going in there, and
They still have an opportunity.
they still can.
What is the first thing that comes to mind when you think of Jewish civil rights?
That we should have it, that everyone should have their own civil rights, that equality for all is just, it's what we all believe in. Like, it's that it should be easier to have. It should be expected, not fought for. It should be given, You don't have to earn civil rights. You should just have them, You don't have to earn the rights of being a human. You just are born. And then you shouldn't earn your civil rights. You should just have them, everyone. And sadly, we are at the forefront of fighting everyone else's civil rights. Nothing warms my heart more when I see Rabbi Heschel marching alongside the great Dr. King. And I'm like, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful sight. And we've always been there fighting for other civil rights. Where is everyone fighting for ours? And again, we shouldn't have to fight for it. It should be given to us and everyone.
Finally, every episode, I urge the listeners to donate to one charity that does good in Israel or across the Jewish diaspora. Where would you want people to donate to this week?
Stand with us. Stand with us. Have done incredible, and with them, I've been working with them for 15 years. I do their galas. I host their galas, and I don't do it for money. I do it because I believe in that cause, and that cause is all about college campuses and emboldening students, Jewish students, to fight the lies and the hatred and the attacks. It's about disseminating the correct information. There is so much. White colonizers, nope, we're not white or colonizers, apart to all the and they do it in really impactful ways. And their presence just on social media, I watched it grow. They had like 50,000, they have, I think, 2 million followers now, and their videos
different languages,
have
definitely.
1 billion views or certain videos with the correct information that can change minds and hearts. There are certain minds and hearts, again, you can never ever change. So now we're living in a time when blood libels leads to our getting attacked. Blood libels, lies have a direct, when there's a comedian, Michelle Wolf, okay? She has like almost 1 million followers. She's a famous comedian. In the first few weeks since October 7th, she put out this blood libel on her Instagram that the IDF is spraying white phosphorus gas on Palestinian civilians. It was a complete lie. And I had to explain to her for hours and hours, back and forth, texting, explaining to her, this is a lie. But it's the kind of lie that will incite people to attack Jews. If I heard they're spraying white phosphorus, I would probably go attack the people who are spraying on innocent children. But the IDF would never spray white phosphorus gas on anyone.
I don't think it has it.
I don't think it has it. And I know it doesn't have it, by the way. And you have to take that down because you're going to have Jewish blood on your hands. There will be attacks based on this. If 1 million people read this lie, it's going to embolden and incite them to attack Jews. So not only is it misinformation, she took it down.
Good.
But who has time to go to everyone on every platform and go, that's a lie, take that down, that's a lie, that's a lie, that's a lie. It's like you can't do that all day and all night, but we should.
So stand with us. So I'm going to do something that I never do in this show, and I'm going to
jumping jacks.
Yeah, after when we turn off the camera, but apologize to my listeners for not keeping time and going over time. And
sorry.
I know this is going to be one
fault.
of the longest episodes.
I'm sorry. You can edit some
there
bad
was,
things.
I'm not
there were
edit
moments that we just lost it.
Everything you said,
not everything.
I want to be heard, and I hope
Ditto. Everything you said.
I'm not going to apologize. You got a bonus episode for people watching.
Maybe we could do a two-parter. Maybe we could do a tune in to the second episode on another very special episode of the Shai Davidai podcast.
Yes.
Should I do the right now? Should I just do it for you? Here I am, a Jewish civil rights podcast with Shai Davidai. That's it. Now you have it. Oh, sorry, I always screw that up. Davidai. Let's do it again. Take 2. Here I am, a Jewish civil rights podcast with Shai Davidai. Davidai. I'm going to do it one more time. Here I am, a Jewish civil rights podcast with Shai Davidai. It actually rhymes and I got it wrong.
Yeah.
How do you get something that rhymes wrong? I was trying to help you by doing the voiceover, and I don't charge extra for voiceovers. Imagine if people thought I was getting paid for this.
Imagine people thinking that
You're
I'm
getting
getting paid for this. So you live up to your name. This was pure gold.
Oh.
Here I am with Elon Gold.
You are the man, and keep doing what you're doing because you are doing so much to save our people, and your words matter and they resonate, and your passion is so evident. So keep it, I mean, you don't have to yell all the time, but
I know.
love you. Okay, love you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Right now, should I just do it for you? Here I am, a Jewish civil rights podcast with Shai Davidai. I'm going to do it one more time. Here I am, a Jewish civil rights podcast with Shai Davidai.